coaches as well. Let's start with Dabo. Take a listen.
This game was not canceled because of COVID. COVID was just an excuse to cancel the game. And to be honest with you, I don't think it has anything to do with their players. I have no doubt that their players wanted to play and would have played. And same with the coaches. To me, the Florida State administration forfeited the game. And if they want to play Clemson, in my opinion, they need to come to Clemson or they need to pay for all expenses. Other than that, there's no reason for us to play them.
I did call, their Saturday morning. Did not connect with Dabo. Once again, this is a decision that is made by the medical advisors, and we took the information that was provided by Clemson with this specific situation, we made the decision that was in the best interest of our student athletes and their well-being.
All right. Bringing in Paul Feinbaum now. Paul, good to see you as always. This is pretty messy. I want your take on this, just kind of where you stand, full reaction. I've been waiting to hear from you on this subject.
Yeah, I think in the whether Dabo or FSU is right, the real person at blame or people at blame here are the ACC. They run this conference. They set the protocol. And where were they? They're supposed to be involved, and I know that they were on the periphery, but it seems like the commissioner of the ACC, John Swafford, should have been on these calls and making the final determination. We don't determine whether you have a college football game because the two medical staffs are at odds. It goes up the food chain, and I have to think that Dabo is correct. They went down there. They were ready to play. And frankly, they needed the game. Clemson right now needs any kind of win you can get to impress this committee as they get ready for tonight and move on, obviously, to play Notre Dame in a rematch for the ACC championship game. Florida State has really, they were going to lose, Molly, by 3 or 4 touchdowns, maybe 4 or 5 touchdowns. I mean, the program is a shell of itself. We all know that Mike Norvell was sent down there to resurrect a program that Willie Taggart couldn't do, and that Jimbo Fisher did not leave in great shape either. But this is not a good look, and for all the media, and I'm sure that I'll hear from one of them in a minute, who want to castigate Dabo Swinney, what did he say that's wrong? We went down there to play the game. We're not playing the game unless you paid the freight, because we've already been there once.
Well, first of all, I completely agree with you. I completely side with Dabo Swinney on this matter. I don't think he said one word that was false in my estimation. That's number one. So I definitely side with Dabo Swinney. But I would ask you this, Paul, as somebody who's never been shy about calling it like you see it, specifically when it comes to college football. When we think about all the things that have transpired since this pandemic has taken fold with college football, assess for us what college football has looked like now, what it looks like now compared to what it even looked like before this pandemic. Could you give us just a bird's eye view? How should we view college football in this day and age based on all the things that have happened?
Yeah, Stephen A., right now, college football is a train wreck. I mean, you have games being postponed, canceled, rearranged, repurposed. I mean, it is a terribly ugly look. And by the way, college basketball is going to look worse. It's going to have a difficult time getting off the ground here tomorrow when it begins. But college football made the decision we are going to have a season, and now they are paying for it. Last week, 18 games were either postponed or canceled. And already this week, a few are off the board, and it's going to be difficult. And it's really about getting to the finish line. Some can easily accuse the college football administrators of being reckless, of simply saying, well, let's get the guys on the plane, let's go play, let's get this thing out of the way. But many programs are on the brink right now. 53 is the number of scholarship players that most leagues have subscribed to, and a couple of games last week, schools went under that number, but there is quiet pressure from up above. Listen, if you can play the game, play the game. Why, Stephen A.? We all know why. It's television inventory. It's about money. And even though they've lost a lot of money already by not having the stadiums full and by truncating the season, Now it's simply about figuring out a way over these next 4 weeks to get to the end line of the regular season and somehow, some way, getting the college football playoff played on January 1st and then ultimately on January 11th. And one more thing, the College Football Playoff Committee, they're meeting right now, guys, in Grapevine, Texas. And I interviewed Bill Hancock the other day, and I said, did I hear this correctly? You folks, 13 members of this committee are meeting in person. He said, oh, absolutely. We feel like if the schools make the effort, we need to make the effort. You can debate this all you want, but what's happening tonight on ESPN is interesting for college football junkies, but the only poll that's going to really matter is in 4 weeks. So have at it.
I don't agree with Dabo's statement. Stephen A. and I feel about this very differently, Paul. I don't understand it. What was Dabo talking about even when he talks about, like, why would they want to cancel the game? Like, the game generates revenue, and they got blown out by inferior teams all year. Who cares if you get blown out by the best team or one of the best teams? Like, what's in it for FSU to cancel? Like, what's their incentive? And meantime, FSU has certain standards, right? They don't want to expose their students to Dabo Swinney's team when Dabo traveled with a COVID positive player. Even if he hadn't tested positive yet, he was showing symptoms. So I understand where that could happen. Hey, we didn't know if he had it. He was testing negative. Then eventually he tested positive. But dude, you were the head coach who opted to travel with the kid. And now the opposing head coach, who has nothing to lose by playing your team, says, like, I don't want to expose my kids to that, and now Sweeney's going off. Why is Dabo going off on him, Paul? What's the logic there?
Well, listen, in terms of the motivation, I would agree. Clemson had more to gain from this game. I think Dabo went Dabo, and you guys know him fairly well. He can he wears his emotion on his sleeve, and I think he was representing his players. And I'm not going to try to get into what would have happened had they played, because we haven't seen any evidence so far this season that play on the field where transmission of the virus is going on the field. It's happening on planes, it's happening in locker rooms, and a lot of other places. So there's no easy answer to that. I mean, this is a controversy. This is a big hullabaloo for one specific reason. It's not really what Dabo said. It's not really what Mike Norvell said. It's the fact that nobody could make a decision, so you had doctors from both schools trying to ameliorate the situation, and it ended up badly for everyone.
Yeah. When you needed some central authority there to make a call. Yeah, I get that point. I just don't know why Dabo.
No
Well, remember,
question.
Boston College,
score you think
he showed up against Boston College with Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence had already tested positive. They showed up and played.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Similar
know.
to
I'm just
sport
saying, like,
boxing.
what?
No unified body.
Right.